Welcome to the Chester Centurions Podcast, where we shine a light on entrepreneurs and business leaders shaping our region. Today I'm joined by Jamie Reid, Chartered Financial Planner at Moneytree Wealth Management, a firm that's been helping clients build robust financial futures for over 14 years. Jamie brings a fresh perspective to wealth planning, focusing on lifestyle-driven financial strategies rather than just products. In this episode, Jamie shares the critical importance of starting with a clear financial plan before making any investment decisions. Real-life stories of clients facing complex financial challenges, from inheritance tax to navigating divorce, why asking difficult questions creates breakthroughs. His personal habits for work-life balance as a busy parent of 3. How staying ahead of regulation and embracing technology keeps the business resilient. Jamie's advice: stay healthy, don't fear failure, and take smart risks, because nothing good happens from sitting on the bench. Let's dive in. Jamie, welcome to the Chester Centurion Podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Really nice to be here, and obviously looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, looking forward to it, definitely. So before we get started today, I'd love to know a little bit more about the business, Jamie. Tell me how long you've been going, where you started from.
Yeah, so we're Moneytree Wealth Management, obviously a financial planning firm. I've actually only been in the business for a year, but Moneytree have been going for a lot longer than that, around 14 years. They came out of the ashes from the financial crisis and then grew from there. They're a business that focuses on the financial plan, which is slightly different to how normal, I suppose, orthodox financial advisors tend to work. We tend to believe that foundation is really important. I mean, you wouldn't build a house without the foundations, and we're very much a believer of that. And getting that financial plan in place before any sort of solutions are even looked at, really, and making sure people know exactly, 1, where they are, 2, where they want to be, and then our job is essentially trying to create that pathway to get them from A to B.
What kind of clients do you have in Moneytree?
It varies. I mean, over the last couple of days, so Friday and Monday, I've seen varying different types of clients. If we look at Friday, for example, I had a head of UK sales who had multiple pensions and just didn't have a clue what to do with them. Very lucrative. She has a really high flying job where she just doesn't have the time to take any sort of any action with that. Mm-hmm. And then this morning I had someone who was kind of in a little bit of despair with the fact that she's gone through a divorce and she's now having to deal with finance for the first time because it's always been dealt with by her husband. I know that can be very sort of, I suppose, gender specific, and I wouldn't want to sort of say that's always the case, but it does happen in a lot of cases, unfortunately. And you find that party that hasn't dealt with the finances is sort of left out in the cold. They don't understand what they're doing because they've never had to deal with it. And then suddenly the divorce is complete and they're now half owner of everything that they've ever had, and they don't know where it is. And that's exactly where she was left. So it really varies. I think one of the big things at the moment is inheritance tax. Obviously, the last budget that we had, there was a lot of changes to come into effect. Obviously, not all of them were done straight away, but a lot of changes to come into effect that affected business owners, affected farmers, affected anyone with a big pension. That their plan has been to pass that pension onto beneficiaries, and that's a really, really hot topic at the moment, and one that clients are getting in touch with, which is great for me because obviously we're busy, and it's something that I enjoy to deal with. I think trying to mitigate inheritance tax is something that it's a challenge, and it's an enjoyable challenge to try and find those ways to really help clients. And that's probably been the hottest topic at the moment.
And I think, I was listening to an industry expert last week, actually, and he was talking about, typically, not just business owners, people in life in general, pay the bills. we go through life and we work hard to pay the bills. And he says we shouldn't be viewing our life like that. We should be viewing our life as, how do we create wealth? And I think it's really refreshing to hear about the plan that you're talking about there of where I am now and where I want to get to. When you first talk to a customer, how many actually know where they want to get to? Or is that something that you uncover along the way?
Yeah, exactly that. The amount of clients, in fact, I'd probably say 99% of clients, they've come with a problem that's one thing, and then when we actually have the conversation, it ends up being, I didn't realize that was the case, or I didn't realize this was the case, and the conversation just spirals into something totally different, and you do really uncover that. And I think part of that is just the questioning. I'm not afraid to ask those, I wouldn't say disturbing questions, that's probably the wrong word, but questions that really spark thought, and getting those brain cells working to say, oh, well, I should probably do this, or I should probably do that, and I didn't even know that. I didn't even know I could do that, and I think that's probably I'd say not that, I wouldn't say the hardest part of my job, but just being comfortable enough to actually ask those questions is really important.
100%, and it's at the heart of coaching as well. Of course, asking the difficult questions that no one else will ask, right? Exactly. And getting to that emotional place, getting to that place where you can get breakthroughs and you can get real change in someone. And starting with the end in mind, starting with this is the lifestyle that I'm trying to create here, and being realistic about that, and then building a plan to help the individual get there. So that, that's a massive BFO for me, a blinding flash of the obvious.
Yeah.
Is we should all have a wealth plan, right?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, I went to see a client, and this one has always stuck with me. One, because it was so baffling to start with. But two, the logic behind his thought, it's just always stuck with me. And it's now actually become my own retirement plan. So basically, he said to me, he was I wouldn't say a wealthy business owner. He was a business owner that was pulling what he could out of the business to live a comfortable life. But it was one of them where we actually ended up selling the business for millions. So I was part of the process, pre-sale, during the sale, post-sale. And what he actually said to me in the first meeting was, I want a ride-on lawnmower. That's how I see retirement. And I was like, you can afford one of them now. He was like, no. What you don't get is, I want the ride-on lawnmower, but I want the lifestyle to go with it. I want to be able to sit on my lawnmower for a full day and not think about life, because I'm in that sort of element of bliss. I've got the land to go with it, not a garden, the land to go with it. I've got the house to go with it. I've got the lifestyle because I've created that. And then I was like, well, there you go. Now I get it. And it was just brilliant. It all started around this ride-on lawnmower, him just sitting there, enjoying life, thinking about whatever he wanted to think about. And it was it stuck with me, and it's brilliant. And I suppose it really brings to the forefront how important that plan is to know to actually think about retirement and what it means to you. It's not about how much money you're going to have.
Yeah.
It's not about how your investments are going to go up or how much they're going to go down by. It's about, can you do the things that you want to do?
Yeah.
Can you live that life that you really want to live in retirement, whether that's going on a round the world cruise or going and living somewhere. I had a client the other day that said they want to move to Cyprus. Can you go and do this, that, and the other? And it's about finding that what's important to you, and my job, I feel, is to make that happen.
That's beautiful, Jamie. I really like that. Thank you for that. So, listen, what motivated you to get involved in the business in the first place? What was the sort of driving force behind your decision to take on this entrepreneurial role?
So I think Moneytree is a company that I think really sort of fit with everything that I believed in myself. I was working for a family office in Manchester that was dealing with everything to do with the client. So you would work with different professions, whether that was the accounts and tax advice, whether that was the legal side, the investment managers directly, So you tend to deal with a client, and you would look after everything. So my job there was the main client contact, and I would outsource to the other parts within the business. This really gave me an opportunity to try and recreate that in a place where I felt the financial planning side was more at the forefront. It's called lifestyle financial planning, and it's something that I've been a big believer of for many years. And I didn't really have that opportunity to do that where I was as much. And coming here, it was a real big driver in the reason that I joined. Doing that lifestyle financial planning, but also we've started working with other firms and other professions within the city. So links with accountants, links with solicitors, and trying to recreate that family office feel was something that really sort of adhered to me and gave me I felt like I could try and recreate this myself here, and so far it seems to be working, because I am working really closely with Ellis & Co, who you'll know well, and
Of course.
we've also been working with Oliver & Co. So there's definitely those opportunities, and being able to be the central pillar, I suppose, to that is great.
And what would you say thinking about, people that want to start their own business, what would you say some of the common misconceptions about running a business are, and how do you go about addressing them?
I suppose that's a tough one, because it's not my business.
No, of course.
But I think I have been part of running businesses, so I think the big one is probably just being able to step up and take that risk, because it's not going to be easy. No one thinks it's going to be easy, but having that drive to say, no, I can do this, and having that confidence in yourself, and then there's always going to be mistakes made, learning from them, not letting it beat you, not falling at that first hurdle and going, oh, that was hard, I'm gonna pull out of that one, but essentially learn from that mistake and make the next one better. I mean, the most prominent person in the world right now, Mr. Donald Trump, is well known for his business failures.
Okay, yeah, he is.
And now he's possibly the most important person in the world. Whether we like it or not, he is. Our day-to-day life now depends on what he says on Twitter, essentially. But it's come with a lot of failures on the way. So I think, yeah, that's probably the biggest one for me is being able to step up again after hitting a brick wall or being knocked down.
That's a big lesson for anyone, I think. Learning from your mistakes. Fail often, fail fast, but fail forward.
Exactly.
So how do you maintain a work-life balance, and do you have any sort of personal rituals or habits that keep you motivated and focused?
Yeah, I think it's tough. I've got 3 children.
Oh gosh.
I still like to keep myself fit and healthy, and stay in the gym. I still try and play football when I can, even though my legs are trying to tell me to stop. So it is tough, but I think the big one for me is just making sure that I manage my diary in advance. Don't get to the week and think, oh, I need to assess what's in my diary at that point. It's making sure I know what's in my diary 2-3 weeks in advance, and making sure I create that space and create that time. Another one is get away, get abroad, and it's like it gives you that chance to really switch off and don't take your phone with you. Having that, I suppose, being able to delegate, having people that you trust around you, that you know that you can pass that off to, pass work off to, so you can switch off when you're abroad. I've been lucky in this first quarter that I've managed to get away twice, but all that's meant is that the final 3 quarters of the year are going to be absolutely chocker. But at the end of the day, I'm lucky I got to do that. So
Beautiful.
But you'll never complain about being busy.
So stay healthy, make sure your belligerent with your time, manage your time effectively using a default diary or some kind of system,
Exactly.
and then take your break, switch off. And you said don't take your mobile with you, so make sure that you're spending that quality time with your family. And
Exactly.
and to in Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, they talk about sharpening the saw, so recharging, getting ready for the next
Yeah.
the next
Well,
step.
my biggest one is, and I think everyone says that there's a reason this is such a cliche, but it's happy wife, happy life.
Yeah,
And I think that's massively important, certainly in my family. If she's happy, then everybody else is. And I think the importance of spending time with me. I don't know why she wants to spend time with me, but she does. And having that quality time together with her, with the kids, it massively helps, and it makes the times that I'm busy, it makes her more understanding, and she understands that I'm busy at those points, but I will try and make the effort and make the time for her when I can, because it would be quite easy for me to not do that.
yeah. No, I agree, and I've definitely been guilty of that in the past, and it's cost me. But definitely. There was a gentleman we had on the podcast described his work-life balance as a tripod. And he said one leg's for your family, one leg's for yourself, and one leg's for your business. And you've got to look after all three equally. And that's kind of just what you've said as well, Jamie.
Yeah, it's exactly it. I mean, people talk about how your mental health and physical health are linked, and I genuinely believe that. I try and get into the gym at least 4 times a week, and I do that at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Again, it's a cliche. People that tend to be successful get up early. But the reason for me to do that is because I'm up, I've been to the gym, I've had my time, and I'm home in time to take the kids to school or have a coffee with my wife before I go to work. And it gives me that opportunity to have my own time before anybody else has woken up. And it keeps me switched on because I'm healthy, I'm happy because I've been in the gym, and naturally the endorphins are flowing because you've been in the gym, and that's what happens. And it might not be going to the gym, it might not be going for a run, it might just be going out for a walk with the dog for an hour. Definitely that time to yourself. If you get up early, go and do it, set your day up. That's my
Love it. So listen, we're in a sort of constantly evolving business landscape. It's moving faster than I think I've ever seen it move. How do you stay adaptable and open to change? Are there any specific strategies that you use to remain innovative?
Yes, we've noticed, and I think our industry is so heavily regulated. The FCA is possibly the most stringent or the most effective regulator in the country at the moment, where other regulators are actually asking them for help on how to get to that level. And that is changing very regular. I mean, I've been a financial planner for 10 years now, and we probably had 4 different types of regulation change or legislation that's been put in place in that time, and adaptations. And I think the good thing, I suppose, about Moneytree is the last one, Consumer Duty, which was pretty major within the financial space, didn't really impact the business because we were already ahead of the curve with that.
Love it.
We were proactive. We saw that coming. I'm a chartered financial planner. That's not necessary. You don't have to be to do this job. But for me, I see that as the next step in terms of that will be the minimum required to be a financial planner. It's already the case in Australia. Their regulation is over and above what the UK is currently. And if you want to know what's going to happen, I'd look at Australia 5 years ago, or I'd look at Australia now, and there'd be a good chance we'll end up in a similar place in 5 years. And I think that's probably the biggest one, is just staying ahead of the curve, adapting with technology. Don't get left behind, because technology is changing. It'd be quite easy to say your job's going to be taken because of AI. Whatever it is you do, whatever business you're in, you could say AI is going to take my job. It's not, because everybody requires that human interaction to some extent. It's how can you use AI and technology to benefit you and help push you forward and take you to the top, rather than using it as an excuse to fail. And I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, Priya Lakini was at an event I was at last week, and she talks about the 3 Ps, which is, how we use AI in a business. And the first one is productivity. The second one is personalization. And the third one is predictive. So it's being able to use it to predict what things are going to happen in your business in the future. And she says that's the one that we're not really keyed into at the moment. The first two we're kind of using, but being able to use it to predict the future and the trends in the business by giving it enough information to do that is certainly something I'm going to be playing with in the future, without a doubt. But AI no one really knows what it's going to look like in 5 years' time, do they?
No, exactly. But I think we've got one of the directors in our business, Linford, is pretty hot when it comes to technological advances, and he's put us in a position where our process is so slick. We have our own CRM system that he built, and it's now its own business, its own brand that's being rolled out across other financial planning firms.
Very good.
So we're basically the guinea pigs on everything that we want to do to advance that piece of technology. So we are ahead of the game, and it just makes things so much more smooth.
Wow! So you've got your own CRM that's now available in the market for any financial planner.
Exactly. Yeah. That's called Logged In.
That's pretty cool. Is there any other innovations coming in the future that you're happy to talk about?
Not that I can think of at the moment. I think our main focus is the financial plan. I think that's something that we want to stay on top of and make sure that is, I suppose, as crisp as possible. We outsource software for that, but that is essentially just a model for us to use as part of that. And we build everything within that to make sure that that's right. But no, there's nothing else that I can sort of think.
It sounds like you're going to be pretty busy anyway, Jamie, to be honest. Until we get replaced by robots, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, if you take the clients that I touched on earlier, if they were sort of put in front of robo advice, is probably the word for it, they wouldn't have a clue what to do.
No.
They would be asked questions that they wouldn't understand what A and B were. The majority of clients don't understand the difference between crystallised and uncrystallised pension, which for me is basics because obviously I work in this, but to be able to get that right, sometimes you need that human interaction to really help you understand and break it down. Whereas if they were going down the robo advice route and they were asked that question, they'd be like, I really don't know the answer to that. And then the little info button they'd get on the side would probably give them a little bit more information. But
there's no emotional intelligence yet. And I use the word yet quite deliberately, but we don't know where it's going, but there isn't any EQ.
No, exactly. We don't know where it's going, but I'd like to think there will always be a place for that human interaction. I think it's necessary.
Let's hope. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Jamie, but I've got one more question for you, and it's the big one. So what 3 pieces of advice would you offer an aspiring entrepreneur, or maybe someone starting their own business, or maybe facing challenges in their business? What would you say the top 3 are?
I think we've probably touched on them already. And that's obviously don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
It's probably vague, but get that work-life balance right. Stay healthy as part of that. I think that's kind of covered in the same one. And don't be afraid to take risks. Nothing good ever came from sitting on the bench, so to speak.
Take risks. Love that. Don't be afraid to fail. Learn from your failures. Fail forward. Make sure you're looking after your own health. The basics are hydration, exercise, sleep, and nutrition. So get your work-life balance right, and don't be afraid to take risks. Just get going, get started.
Exactly that.
Absolutely love it. Jamie, thank you so much for being on. Real pleasure having you here.
No, thank you. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you, and hopefully we'll speak soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Cheers
Thank
now.
you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.